Good evening, friends. The market is showing lot of resilience. Those who are waiting for correction to happen, it's just proving to be momentary. एक दिन होता है and then market recovers. And that's exactly what we saw in this week also. What does this clearly indicates? Do not fight against the overall wisdom of the market. Accept market verdict and take your investment decision. And I think that's what exactly is happening. Every decline in the market, there are buyers coming in. And they are buying and lifting the indices higher. So today I'm going to come with very interesting trend analysis. But before I discuss those, let me put my favorite slide. And that is disclaimer. Okay, this webinar is just to enhance your understanding about the economies and the sector. It's no way this webinar is for recommending any stock. So please consult your financial advisor before buying and selling any stock, if at all if we discuss anything or even give a hint anything in this webinar. Investment in securities are subject to market risk and past performance is no indicator of future returns. So today, as we all know that even RBI declared their monetary policy, and as everyone was expecting and we were also expecting, that there will not be any rate hike. But I'm going to take out some of the interesting observation from the monetary policy document. So I've edited this in my trend analysis. Why? Because this happened today only, so I thought let me just update you that also. So there are total 5 trend analysis to be very precise. The 6th one is RBI monetary policy option. Now, I want you to be I don't want interaction to be one-way communication. I want it has to be a little interactive. And I have asked you people to suggest what do you want me to cover in my trend analysis so that I can come next week in front of you. And I'm accepting your suggestion 100%. So I'm telling you, so like someone suggested last time, what is the loan against sales trend happening in the banking sector? Someone suggested, please show us how the mid and small cap has outperformed and how much percentage they have outperformed. I will all put, that is my trend analysis. So let me first start with trend in GST collection over the years. Now the reason I put this trend is very, very critical to understand that there is a lot of fear in the investor's mind. Economy में क्या हो रहा है, कैसे होगा? And GST collection is a very simple and very powerful indicator of what is happening in the economy. ज़्यादा उसमें दिमाग लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है. फिर क्यों? कि that's the actual consumption that is taking place. And जब consumption अच्छा होता है, normally that economy should do well. Normally. I'm yet to come across only unless, consumption is happening at the cost of leverage, then it's a problem. I do understand that. So we saw last time how much India's leverage is against the various parts of the other countries of the world. And we also saw how India's debt to GDP ratio has been quite stable, that we saw in another, I think in the previous webinar only we saw that. To GST collection. Another interesting thing that government and the RBI increasing the share of gold in the total forex reserves, and I'm going to present that. I don't have a data readily available. My gut feeling is that various central banks across the world are doing very similar. And if possible, I will try to come with the data if next Friday or maybe next after that. But I'll try to collect the data, okay, how much gold has been bought by the sovereign government, by the central banks across the world as a part of this one. The loan against sales, which someone suggested, I'm happy to inform you that is there. Again, the quantum of, like someone asked, नहीं स्मॉल के आउट परफॉर्म करने कितना करता है, How much does it outperform? And is it worth the taking the risk? Because by nature, the small caps are more volatile as compared to large cap. In the investment world, it's a risk versus return. So is it worth the effort to take that kind of a risk to invest in the small cap? So I'll come with the data. So this is what the trend I have done that. Amount mobilized by the mutual fund. I was surprised with the data. And I'm so sure you would also be surprised with the data when I present to you. And of course, the monetary policy update. And post my presentation, as usual, we will take question and answer. My request to all of you, please put down the trend that you would like us to cover. And we will see that how best we can accommodate the same. If not immediately, the one next week, maybe with 1 week after that, depending on the data that you, because some data do take a lot of time to compile also. So first thing, let me talk about the GST collection over the years. In FY 2020, which was a little challenging year, we 12.2 crore. In March 2020, COVID hit us. And the real impact of that came in FY 2021. Why? Because March 2020 was a financial year. So April to March, our GST collection came down to 11.4 crore. And there were many people who have been suggesting now ये तो peak हो गया, कुछ अभी ज़्यादा बढ़ेगा नहीं. But then we bounced back very strongly. Remember, see, this is what, sometimes how you analyze the data, it separates men from the boys. Data सबके पास है, कोई ऐसा जरूरी नहीं कि सबके पास data नहीं. The data I'm producing, and none of the data is a proprietary data. It's all available in the public domain. The reason why Markets Mojo has been so successful purely because of we not only understand how to analyze the data and which data to analyze first and then how to analyze the data. So there are two differences. First thing, which data is more important. That's first. And second thing, then how you basically analyze that data. Once the data, you basically decide. And now you look at this GST collection, FY 2021 to this increased to 14.8 crore. Substantial jump. Not only that, it higher than the FY 2020 numbers. If you go back and Google search, many would have said, वो तो peak हो गया, अभी कैसे क्या होगा? Not only that, we went to 18.1. And for this financial, that is FY 2024, that should be budget estimates. This is 19.1 expected. Of which, in the first half of 2024, we did 9.9 crore. In other words, the budget estimate we are going to overshoot. Why? मैं इसको multiply by 2 भी करता हूँ तो 20 करोड़ हो जाता है. It is 19.1. And if you look at the same period last year, 8.9 versus 9.9. Now, reason why I'm saying this data is I want to tell you that Indian economy doing is extremely well. Please don't get too much concerns about what's happening in the United States, what's happening in the Europe, and so on and so forth. You should not form your opinion of investing in India based on what's happening in the US and the United States. United States, you are the European. Of course, you should consider, but look at how much it can impact India. How much it's there in the price. If it's already there in the price, why should you be so much concerned about it? Now that's the GST collection. The RBI, one good thing I must tell you that a lot of credit should go to this incumbent government that we are no longer in that fragile fight. Our Forex reserves year after year is on a constant increase, including the year where we've been hit by the COVID. On the other hand, some of our neighboring countries are facing the crisis of Forex. Of course, someone would say, why should we compare with them? Of course, I'm not trying to compare with them. I'm just giving you the perspective. Now, the one thing is that Forex reserve itself is going up. Okay? But within that, gold is gaining its prominence. In FY 2006, out of total Forex reserves, gold was forming 5.6%, which came down to 5.41%. It came down to further to 5.1%. But then is increased to 5.6 to 6.4, then again came down to 5.9, and in last 2 years it increased to 7 and 7.8. Now the 7.8, 5.9 to 7.8 is a very substantial jump in last 2 years. We can't afford to ignore that. Not only the reserves went up, gold as a percent also is went up. In other words, double booster. There is a high probability now. This number for FY 2024 would be much higher than what it is there in FY 2023. I would not be surprised if it goes above 8% in FY 2024. So that's another interesting trend that I've observed. And my sense is that, again, this is my personal prediction. There is a high probability that US is going to go into a trouble because of rising debt. To serve that debt, there is a higher cost of borrowing. See, when you borrow something, assuming that rate of interest would be 0.25% only, your calculation will be different. And the moment it goes to 4%, 5%, your cost of calculation goes little different. It makes a huge difference. And I think my sense is that the complete calculations has gone haywire for the US, the decision maker, the lawmakers there. And due to that, I think US is going into problem. Like if you remember, day before yesterday, I was in front of you and I discussed about there is a higher probability even Moody, who has not yet downgraded US, can downgrade the US. And hence the question is very critical. Should at all you put your money, Forex reserves, into gold or US dollar? That's a question that the central banks will ask themselves. And if you look at what's happening in the mortgage, 30-year mortgage in US, it's gone up substantially. Yield on the 10-year bond is gone up. I think, and somewhere the leadership seems to be a big issue in the United States as we speak. Ultimately, leader decides everything. It's basically defined. That's not only in politics. It happens in sports. It happens in corporate. I was reading a very interesting article in Economist, I think last Saturday or so. A Microsoft as a company was lagging behind. And after Satya Nadella assumed as a CEO, this company transformed itself. And I have seen companies where the CEO or the leader is weak, despite the strong businesses, that company will not grow. So leadership basically define what kind of, and that's what I personally believe, US will face a lot of problem going ahead. Now loan against says, so what is the context to it which people are not aware? Last week when I was presenting about credit card spend and so on and so forth, someone asked me, since market is going up, are banks basically exposing more to the loan against says? I'm happy to inform you that there is no increase at all. See, remember, as a bank can give you only 20 lakhs per individual as a bank, what we call maximum loan against says. Of course, NBFC can give higher. So there's no systematic risk to the bank. The first biggest scam that happened in 1992 was a bank scam. Do we run into that kind of a problem here? The answer is no. Because this amount, this is 1,000 crores, 6,446 to to 6778 from FY 2019 to FY 20. While India's market cap increased substantially, there is hardly its 1% CAGR growth in the loan against sales. But this was not asked when I put it on my own. Loan against jewelry has gone up. Now that's one reason is that when you give a loan against jewelry, it's a secured assets. Why? Because you have a jewelry as a collateral. The gold as a jewelry collateral. And second thing, the names are much higher in the loan against jewelry. So a lot of banks have gone aggressively against loan against jewelry. So it's very difficult to say that 38% basically shows the what we call the industry growth, not necessarily, because industry may have grown a little less than 38%, because some market share would have been lost by some of the NBFCs, some of the money lenders, and that got shifted to the banks. In fact, someone was informing the other day, and this was informed to me by one of the player in the loan against sales only. He said, previously bank used to close by 2 or so. But to give loan against sales, they have extended the working hours. So that is one. So total loan against sales, this is only from the banks. Don't get confused with the NBFCs or money lenders that's in the operation in the private domain. 88,428 crore. And this is all secured. But it has gone up substantially from 24,671 crore to 88,428 crore. So that number has gone up. Total personal loan has gone at CAGR of 15%. And today, RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das, he did mention in his commentary that there is the concerns about personal loan, especially which is unsecured, where underwriting skill has to little revisited, and banks should make provision for that. So I think that's one area that we should all be watchful. I'm not saying it's a concern. Now this is a one, I should have put it as a one, number 110, but I thought let me keep little later. First thing, should you first invest in the small cap? And if yes, what should be the return that can compensate for the volatility to invest in the small cap? So what I did actually, I look at how Sensex and Nifty perform versus BSE mid cap and small cap. And I looked at YTD 1 year, 3 years, 5 years and 10 years. Now if you look at it, I have not tried to, even though in both the period also, this period also they have outperformed the mid and large cap, I have still not put it. Why? There is a specific reason, logical reason why I don't done it. In short term, it does not matter. If in 2022, mid and small cap underperformed significantly to the large cap, isn't it? So 1 year here and there does not make any difference. And as I keep saying, when you look at equity as an asset class, you should look at minimum 3 to 5 years, minimum. And hence I've looked at 3 years, 5 years and 10 years. What does this data suggest? If you invest in the small cap, if the large cap has given X returns, for that period, there is a high probability that small cap index will give you 2x returns. Which means, if you adjust for the risk that you invest in the small cap, it pays off. Again, I repeat, the amount of risk that you take in investing in small cap is been paid off by the returns it can generate. Whether it's for 3 years period, whether it's for 5 years period, or whether for 10 years period. Something similar is there for the mid cap also. But mid cap has given relatively less returns as compared to small cap over the large cap. But the fact of the life is that both mid and small cap has outperformed the large cap over the longer. Now, see, one is that you have information, you have knowledge. How do you put that knowledge to work for you then? Knowledge लेके क्या आचार बनाने क्या उसका? Ultimately, you are coming and attending this webinar to create wealth for yourself. Am I right? To enhance your understanding about the equity market. One of the key things that you must understand then from this, that if you are doing an SIP or you are investing in ETF, my request would be, if you don't need that money for 3 to 5 years, please don't put in large cap ETF. Put in small cap ETF, put in mid cap ETF. Why? Because over the 3 years period, 5 years period, 10 years period, probability, this is all probability. Probability is very, very high that you would have make more money than the large cap. As you know that we have 2 PMS scheme and we are heavily tilted to a small and mid cap for the very simple reason we believe that they will do very well. And that's why we have taken so much exposure. So this is a learning that you need to understand from. Now, amount mobilized by mutual fund, and this data really surprised me. Why it surprised me? So first when I look at the number, I did not believe this number. Why I got surprised? If you look at it, there has been a substantial fall in the money mobilized by mutual fund in FY 2023. From 2.46 lakh crore, it came down to 76,000 crore only. Of course, FY 2023 was a challenging year. And when I further dissected this number, what has realized to me that out of this 76,225 crore, 8,870 crores come only from SBI. So, mutual fund sahi hai, big campaign somewhere have definitely helped the industry to do this. But at the same time, it has not been able to, like the highest that we saw, the mutual fund is FY 2027, almost 3.5 lakh crore. Then it declined, and then it went up next 2 years in a row, that is post-COVID. But FY 2023, it says decline. Don't get confused this with the appreciation in the assets of a mutual fund because of the market movement. Am I right? Now coming to the monetary policy which has been announced today. As you know, no change in the interest rate. Everyone would be aware about that. RBI did clarify now in the latest that people do talk about the tolerance level up to 6% of RBI. Why? Because RBI said 4% plus or minus 2. So people then construed 2 to 6% is inflation, that what band RBI is comfortable with. And RBI clarified that target is only 4% for inflation. So if it is above 4%, RBI is not going to be relaxed. RBI, while do believe that inflation will come down for the month of September, which will get the data in the second week of October, but don't expect food inflation to come down. Like if you remember, tomatoes price had gone through the roof. The next turn is onion. Jot down my words. Today is what? क्या तारीख है आज? 6th October. I would not be surprised if that onion price start moving up in next couple of months. So that could further put a pressure on the inflation. But RBI also says that, Kharif sowing, especially on the pulses and oilseeds, has been little low. Low reservoir level, that is water reservoir, and volatile global food and energy prices, that is crude oil prices. RBI believed that even though the September numbers would be little soft in terms of inflation for the quarter October to December, inflation is likely to remain at the elevated level. Acreage of kharif crops in September was at 0%, that's okay. And onion price and spice price can go up. Economic activity is showing resilience. RBI has gone to the data, says that economic activity is resilience and urban consumption is on the rise while the rural consumption is showing signs of revival. It still says signs of revival, it not says revived. And demand outlook remains very, very good. Again, it brings me to the first trend analysis of GST collection. Demand outlook is promising. Due to buoyancy in the service sector, government is focusing and front-ending the capex and normalization of the supply. If you know, Bank of England take a pause in terms of rate hike. RBI did it. US did it. Canada also did it. More and more central banks have done this. But do not expect the rate cut higher for longer. Why? Because inflation pressures are still there. There is no immediate relief that we should expect, and this RBI also says very clearly in his latest monetary policy. RBI has revised India's GDP by 10 bips. It was expecting on 10th August policy 6.6%. Now it's revising to 6.5%. There is no change in the quarterly estimates. Okay, and this is the 8th June. This is not percentage actually, this is a mistake actually. 8th June is the RBI monetary policy date, 10th, 6th October. So the idea is to show you the trend, how RBI is basically looking at the data on the GDP. But for inflation, I think RBI is revised upward Q2 ka to 6.4% from 6.2%. Now look at it. On 8th June, it stated 5.2%, which increased to 6.2, and it increased to 6.4. For the third quarter, this is financially I am talking about quarter, okay? 5.7 has been reduced to 5.6. In June, it was 5.4. And for Q4, it has maintained at 5.2. And of course, it will revise as we come closer to the Q4. First quarter of FY 2024 inflation is estimated to be 5.2%. Now, why this data is very, very critical, we would understand. RBI said very clearly, if you remember my word, their target is 4%. And till such time they don't get comfort level that we are going to be at 4% in terms of inflation, I think we should not expect any rate cut from the RBI. On the contrary, there could be possibility of a rate hike. What is the positive trend? I think one good thing which happened in last 1 week is that crude price went down substantially. From $94 per barrel, it came down to $82.6. This is despite the OPEC maintaining that there is production cut. That's a happy sign. I'm not very sure right now how long this positive trend will continue, but that's the thing. Very quickly, before I open the floor for the question answer, auto industry did came out with a good set of numbers. Most of the notes have still come back to the RBI, but still there are some more, and RBI extended it. RBI outflow or FI outflow of about 8,000 crore this week. Both Sensex and Nifty close in the green, but mid cap close in the red, and small cap again outperform the large cap and close in the green. I know many experts have suggested mid and small cap will come down. Of course, some companies here and there will come down, there's no doubt about it. But overall, we continue to believe that mid and small caps should significantly outperform the large cap. There's no reason to get too much perked up by that. With this, let's open the floor for our question answer. Okay, sir, your point taken. He's asking, sir, I don't know how do I UHINFXR. I don't know, sir, what does it mean, but few ETFs are missing and hence cannot be added to a portfolio. Point taken. Just please jot down, please convey this message to my colleague Karan. Karan will take care of it. Just make a note of it. And sir, if you can specify also through an email which ETF that you are specifically mentioning, I'll definitely ask my my colleague Karan Bata to look into the same. Namam is asking why gold ETFs falling if central banks are buying. So central banks don't buy gold ETFs, sir. They actually buy the gold as this one. So why they'll say gold is a global commodity. So if while even the central banks are buying, if consumer like you and me don't buy, it's a demand supply. And you all know that China is one of the largest consumer of the gold. And Chinese economy is struggling. And that is one reason the gold prices have come down. Having said that, risk reward from this level in gold definitely is in favor of returns. Ravi is asking, hi sir, please show us the trend of IT company service profitability versus USD. So, okay, I'll show you that. What I can do, maybe I can take the industry only and I can show you. So just WhatsApp me this email, this request, so I can try to add in my what we call next time presentation. So what we will do, sir, I'll just, since you are asking me, Ravi, instead of taking one particular company, I'll look at the total aggregates of the software sector. And how, and of course, I'll keep the company same. Otherwise, what would happen if some new company comes in? It will distort the picture. And I'll show you how Rupee appreciating or depreciating, how they perform. So one thing is very sure, certain that when Rupee depreciates, it does benefit IT companies. No doubt about it, because the billing is in dollar. If the billing is in dollar, and if you are not hedged that position, you will get the benefit. But is this so crucial factor that you should, that should be the reason for you to get into that company or not get into that sector? My answer is no. I'm not an economist and I don't claim to be an economist. In fact, I don't understand much also economy. But I do believe that Rupee should appreciate against the dollar. If you remember, I've been proved wrong. I'll be very honest with you. Till now, it's wrong. I have predicted that Rupee should appreciate against the dollar, and we could see going below 80 rupees against the dollar in 2023, which has not happened. On the contrary, Rupee has appreciated by 2% or so in 2023 YTD. I see a lot of challenges in the US economy. I'm not saying it's a gloom and doom scenario for US, but I think US economy has to do so many corrective, like what happened with the China. Worst thing can happen with the US. That's what my understanding as we speak. Because more I read, more and more I get convinced that US need a very, they don't need, piecemeal approach. यहाँ पे patch कर दिया, यहाँ पे कर दिया. I think they need a very holistic way to look at it, how they can basically come out of this. I think this stubborn interest rate and high borrowings are going to create a lot of problem for them. Amul is asking, what is your view on silver as a commodity for the next days? I do believe silver should do well as compared to gold also in next 3 years. But that's for the 3 years period, not for 1 year or 3 months or this one. That's what my sense is. Sri is asking, sir, I'm a market subscriber. Please answer my question, sir. We don't differentiate between Mojo and non-Mojo, definitely, sir. You have a rights to ask, and we have a obligation to respond to your question. Why Mojo Stocks are added, removed within few days? It seems that it's just a momentum pick. Sir, can you help me understand which Mojo stock has been removed in few days. See, our human nature is that we always go by the exception. If one company would have come, then we basically generalize that statement. So please help me understand that. If you can allow me to do that, can I go to 1 second? Can I just okay? So I know many of our members would be there in our this one also, but let me date of exit. So can I just can you see my screen? Now what I've done actually, the script basically they move in and move out. 3 months, 20, one is of course 21 days, 2 months, 3 months, 9 months, 7 days, 7 months, 2 days. So there are 2 companies which has gone out. In fact, only one company within 7 days. You just mentioned 7 days. Should we say because of 1 day, one company going out in few days, that becomes a what we call rule for the investors? Can you again put that question? So, sir, it's one company question I'm saying. It's one company that has happened, not. And second thing, even if it's no longer a Mojo stock, it does not mean you need to exit from that if you have bought that company. Time and again, Sri sir, I've explained in this webinar. A company that loses its Mojo stock status does not mean that company is a sell. It just becomes a hold. You are not supposed to buy more of that. Due to this, Mojo stocks are generating wealth only on paper. Sir, I proved you clear cut whether it's a. So if you go to, can I just again what we call take and take this one? You look at this company. There's a list of Mojo stocks performance from last 3-4 years. There's a complete list. We do not try to manipulate that data. Look at these returns. These are all in green. Okay, then you go down. Look at this one. The highest returns generated by Mojo stocks, 491%, 378, so on and so forth. I'm going down. Okay, this is a complete list. Green, 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 green. Of course, there are some Mojo stocks have not done well. I am not disputing this. See, 1%, 0%, 3%, this one. Okay, with the maximum loss of 29% or so. Did you see the list? This is a complete list. Number one, probability of Mojo stocks going up is higher. And when they go up, probability of you making high returns is also high. There will be some Mojo stocks which will not perform well. They do go down, but the downside is very limited. So, sir, I beg to differ with your statement. It's only on the paper. In fact, last week someone said, sir, I'm enjoying the market's Mojo stocks because he's created good wealth by investing in the Mojo stocks. One of the investors like you who made the statement. And can I have the question, the last part? Sorry, I missed that part of the question. Example, stock got added, next day gap up, within the few days it's removed and it opened gap down. Sir, I've answered all your questions. I think you are getting little, factually your data are not right because only one company which has moved out in 7 days. But you said Mojo stocks added removed in few days. It seems it's a momentum peak. That means you are making normally that happens. That has not been the case. So I beg to differ with you, Sri sir, with your observation. I think we need to be a little objective when we make a statement like this. Kusal is asking, always good to listen to your wisdom of the market. Thank you, sir. GST because I expected to increase with inflation in the economy and also on the account of economy, also on the actual growth of the economy. Should we discount the growth GST in accounts of the first 2 points? So, inflation and consumption are inversely proportionate, isn't it? And that's what we saw with the FMCG companies. उन्होंने अपना प्राइस बढ़ा दिया प्रोडक्ट का, उनका वॉल्यूम ग्रोथ हुआ नहीं. तो you are making an assumption, Kushal ji, is that जब भी इन्फ्लेशन होगा कंजम्पशन normally should come down because your ability to spend money goes down, am I right? You will start doing down trading, you will buy. On the contrary, when the inflation goes up, I've seen people basically going to the unorganized sector, and sometimes that unorganized sector may not be the part of the GST network. It's not me making a statement. You should have listened to the FMCG company's commentary when the price was. They did mention that people started doing down trading. They are buying a product which is available at cheaper price, and so in fact, many of these people had to bring down the volume of the product, but keep the price because there was resistance from that. So I don't think we need to do that. That, and also the account of formulation of economy. And the formulation of economy is a good thing, am I right? System white में आ रही है, जो black में जा रहा था, money coming into the white. See, when you pay GST, that means you are collecting in through banking channel, and when the money comes to the banking system, it has a multiplier effect. So it's good for that. So should we discount? My answer is no, sir. Because that it's not fair to do that. Okay. So I hope I basically answer your part. If you are still not convinced, please put it again. I'll try my level best to again explain you further. Santosh is asking, how is the gold? No, okay, sorry. How it is important? Okay, the trend what I wanted to show is that the faith in the US dollar seems to be on a decline. That's what I'm trying to convey there. Nothing else. I hope that basically, and what is so about the economy? Nothing. It's what you should look at. Forex reserve is going up or not. But whether it's a gold or whether it's a dollar, as long as you have enough reserves to meet your import need, you should be fine. The point I think I missed that. I'm not able to articulate well. What I wanted to convey that. I think, and that's why I also said, I don't have a data, but my gut feeling is that more and more central banks are going away from dollar reserve, forex reserves, and putting money in the gold. But I don't have data readily available. That's why I'm saying based on gut feeling. If I get a hold on that data, I'll again present to you people to prove whether my gut feeling was right or wrong. I said to wash out, but do you have been saying that ITs will do well? How is it ITs are performing going forward? So Sridhar sir is asking that, 2023, 2024, fair question, sir. And that's your question is absolutely right. Now, I always skip one thing I've realized in my life. You should always look at what is there in the price. It's there in the price or it's not there in the price. And if it is there in the price, should we be worried about it? See, market will react, and I give a quick example of that. The company comes out with the bad numbers. When I say bad numbers in the sense, company report losses, and yet the script can move up. Why? Because market was expecting losses to be higher than what the company reported. So company reported losses and yet the script moved up. On the other end, company will report smart growth in the profit, and still the script can come down. Why? Because market was expecting much higher profit than what company reported. So here is a case where profit increased and price moved down. Here is a profit decline and the price moved up. What does this indicate really clearly? What is there in the price of that company? Now, if you look at, again, I'll request my colleague to showcase my screen. I'm taking you to the Markets Mojo website. Can you just see this? Nifty IT is up by 13% YTD in 2023, despite so much challenge. And look at the Bank Nifty, only up by 3.2%. 4x more returns Bank Nifty IT has given despite the challenges as compared to the Bank Nifty, where everything seems to be going right. So again, the reason why I'm bullish, very simple. I think market seems to be more massive. They are looking more myopic. When I say market, not market is actually looking at forward, and that's why it's up by 13.2%. Some investors are looking too short-term in nature. And they believe, of course, numbers would be bad. Even I am saying quarter two numbers would be bad. But I'm also making a prediction. despite numbers are bad, they will go up post result. Again, repeat, IT companies numbers will not be great, and yet their share price will go up. Why? Because it is excessive pessimism has been built around the IT companies. It's there in the price, and when the numbers are better than the expectation, you will see the script going up. So that's the reason, sir, I'm bullish on IT companies. And data में शायद झूठ हो सकता है, लेकिन डेटा तो गलत नहीं हो सकता ना. It has to outperform even the bank Sensex and Nifty also, because bank Sensex and Nifty is up by 8 or 9% YTD. Bank Nifty IT is up by 13%, almost up alpha of 50% over the Sensex and Nifty, despite the challenges. Agree that we should not see the US and other countries' economic data while investing. But the point is that by and large, stock market all over the world now follow now. So, sir, if my memory serves me right, sir, you attend almost all my webinars. If I assume that your statement is right, I did equity outlook webinar. In the month of September, Nasdaq was in red, Dow was in red, S&P 500 was in red. Did Indian market close in the red? The answer is no. One more data point. US market, US indices are down from the 2 years level. 2021 में जो था 2023 में लेवल पर भी तो वो पहुंचा भी नहीं है. They're still below the 2021 level. Indian market is at all-time high or very close to the all-time high. So if I agree with your statement that both the statements should be wrong, ना logically होना नहीं चाहिए था ये. So don't get confused. Yes, US market sentiment can affect Indian market investors' impact sentiment also. Maybe for a day. It cannot impact over a long, because India has to grow on its own strength, its own economy, its own corporate profitability. It is not a function of what happens in the US. Of course, those who are dependent on US economy will have an impact in the corporate earnings. But I don't see a great correlation. In fact, I did analysis also in one of my webinar and trade analysis, what is the correlation between the US and Dow versus Indian market. I did that analysis. There is no kind of a clear-cut trend there. In fact, मैंने तो इतने ट्रेंड एनालिसिस करे, मुझे खुद को ही नहीं मालूम कौन सा मैंने कभी किया था. To be very frank, in fact, other day I was asking my analyst, hey, please give me the list of the trend analysis we have done, so at least I don't repeat them even by mistake. Raghunathan ji is asking, is this the right time to book profit in PSU banks / private banks? The PSU index to me looks little weak, to be very frank with you. Why? Because it run up too high, too fast. So there is a fair possibility that you should see some amount of profit booking. Having said that, everything is a company specific. You did not basically paint everyone with the same brush. Am I right? So look at some of the banks where there is no growth in ROA. There is a pressure on the margin. I think you should definitely move out of those PSU banks. In private banks also, I would suggest you to please company specific, because I do see banks as such, private banks have been struggling to outperform, most of them actually, am I right? So my advice would be little cautious with them also. Be stock specific, but overall I think they will underperform. My view in the beginning of 2020 was that Bank Nifty will underperform. And that exactly is what has happened. At that point of time, I suggested IT should outperform, and that's what has actually happened. Hemant is asking, sir, since the market is bearish, सर ये कहाँ से लेके आप market is bearish? कहाँ से ये कौन बताया आपको कि market is bearish? यानी कौन से एंगल से आपको मार्केट बेरिश लग रहा है? कैन आई जस्ट अगेन टेक माई, कैन यू सी माई दिस? सेंसेक्स 1 month is up, Nifty is up, mid and small cap little down 0.14 and 2 thing. When I look at YTD, सर आपको कहाँ दिखता है मार्केट इज बेरिश? आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ योर्स. What makes you believe that market is bearish? Sir, even if I look at last 1 week also, 0.25, it's positive, it's green only. Marginal negative somewhere here and there. Sir, I don't think that's a right assessment. So let's go back to the question again. So I don't agree with your assessment. Since the market, we do it to investors, we wait for the dip to happen. Hemanji, we continue to maintain 20,100 Nifty 50 level by December 2023. We continue to believe that mid and small cap will outperform the large cap. You don't come to the market for 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months, or 1 year. You come to the market for equity for minimum 3 to 5 years, minimum. And we do believe that Indian equity market from this level can offer significant gain over the next 3 to 5 years. Jayant is asking, hi Sunil, Indian economy is doing very well, given your way that US economy will have problems due to the debt like student debt, credit card debt. Will Indian exports will not be affected as a consequence of increased pressure on rupee? Indian economy will also be impacted. So, it's a good question actually. Don't remove the question, please. So, Jayant ji, you are right. We will have an impact, especially if you look at our merchandise exports. It's on a constant decline, and that could be the reason for a worry. Okay. Fortunately, our exports, software as an export, I think is doing extremely well. Second thing, if you look at the remittance from the NRIs in India, is also a factor that we should look at when we look at the rupee dollar rate. Maybe just remind me, Amit, that I need to put remittance from the NRI to India. Maybe I can put that as a trend, so that gives an idea about it. So, yes, there will be an impact. Will it be impact so significant? Answer is no. And also there will be a counter balance would be that if the US economy is weakening and so on and so forth, why that should you pay premium to the US economy? So that would be a counter argument to that. Also, the global economy is also slowing down. In view of this, what is your view on the Indian stock market in general over the next 1 year? Jayanji, my sense is that Indian economy should do well. That's what even RBI is saying. There's a lot of resilience. See, India fortunately has been more of always been a domestic focus, unlike the China. And due to that, even if there's a global uncertain global challenges, Indian economy didn't. See, look at first 6 months, na sir. Our GST collection grew at 10% or so. It's not that the global economy has not gone through that problem. It is going through the problem from last many quarters, and yet we have been able to show the resilience. So I don't think so. My sense is that Indian economy should grow in nominal GDP growth near about 10 to 11% in next 1 year. And Indian equity market should give, when I say equity market, I said, I believe Nifty, the large cap, the Nifty 50 or Sensex should give a return somewhere in the early teens. That's in next 1 year. That's what my sense is. Karthik, thanks. MF mutual slide was interesting. Are investors losing interest in mutual fund? Not really, actually. If you look at the SIP flow, that has been, what has happened is that some investors did lump sum, जो पैसा आता उन्होंने book profit कर लिया. Second thing, FY 2023, the market was little volatile. As we know that performance was a little challenging, and some investors did decide to stay away from the volatility. That's what has exactly happened. That's why the mobilization was little low. And my sense is that slowly and steadily, see, unfortunately in India, mutual fund, even though the Unit 64 came in 64, as a first mutual fund came in as a concept in India, the takeoff as we had purely happened post demon, where the industry really got big money coming in, and still we are very low as percentage of GDP. Within mutual fund, my sense is that More and more mutual funds will succeed because of passive funds, not because of active funds. Why? Because investors become very smart. They did realize that somehow the, the active fund managers are not able to generate alpha over a longer period of time. If that is so, why should I pay my fees to them? Might as well go for the passive funds. And that's what the trend that has happened in US will happen in India also. And that's where you will see more passive funds becoming more and more popular, and which will increase the mobilization of money in the mutual fund industry. Jay Christensen is asking, can markets provide Mojo score sector-wise just like does economy or company-wise? I think that's in our wish list. I must tell you that. It is there in our wish list that we should also give Mojo score sector-wise. But let's give you a simple example. आप उसे फायदा क्या करोगे? See, sometimes some information you may not be able to use it in a very effective manner. And Jaya Krishnan says, I'll just give you a classical example which I stated in one of my webinars also recently. In 2023, one of the best performing sectors is PSU Bank. But SBI YTD is red, negative है उसका returns 2023 में. तो sometimes your view on the sector may be right, पर ultimately तो आप कंपनी लेने वाले हो. वो कंपनी नहीं चला तो फायदा क्या उस सेक्टर का व्यू का. तो suppose if you give a Mojo score on the sector, but if you happen to pick up a wrong company in that sector, then you will not make money, isn't it? So, if you ask my personal opinion, my Mohit may have a different opinion altogether. I am not in the favor of giving information which sometimes investors are not able to utilize in an effective manner. I don't want that to become a counterproductive for you. By having that information, आपका return increase होने की जगह decrease होने लगा, which I would not like it. Ultimately, you are going to buy company. And if that is so, I think the score of the company is more important than the sector then. Ram Mohan Jan is asking, yes. तो सर मुझे बताइए ना, I don't want to be specific about any FII, but many FIIs have been negative on IT sector since beginning of 2023. फिर भी उसने आउटपरफॉर्म किया ना निफ्टी को, सेंसेक्स को. That gives you an answer, sir. So, we don't comment on other people's view. We respect them. They may be right, we may be wrong. But we have our own way to form an opinion. And we believe that IT sector should outperform. I'm not talking about the financial fund. Don't get confused with financial performance and the stock market price. We believe that IT as a sector should do. There's another reason why I'm saying so. That's more of a technical reason. If bank continues to underperform, there's only one sector that can absorb that kind of liquidity, and that is IT sector after bank. That's another reason IT sector can outperform. Sir, please say your outlook on paper as a holding paper company for long term still is in red. Can I hold the book losses? Sir, please continue to hold. We have not exited in our PMS portfolio also. We do believe that there is a fair chance to see from this level, the risk versus reward ratio is definitely in the favor of reward, and hence I would not request you to book losses. Please continue to hold. We'll revisit them post paper companies announce their September numbers. Okay, Rajiv is asking, please do a slide on global shortage of wheat and sugar. So I was surprised I must tell you that. And I was proven, in fact, I was discussing Mohit the other day. मुझे लगता है Mohit wheat का price ऊपर जाना चाहिए. But when I was looking today only, I saw the price. Wheat price have gone down substantially in the recent past. And if I can show you, I know wheat prices, okay. 1 second. Can you see this? Can you दिखा सकते हो मेरी स्क्रीन को? This is the wheat price of Chicago wheat future. If you look at it 1 year, the price have come down drastically. So I was proved completely wrong in this. Okay, but sugar price have gone up. I agree with you, and you wanted us to show. So yes, jot down this. I'll put it as a slide only. Shortage is the sugar. I must tell you, in Brazil, the sugar production is extremely good. Not only sugar production is good, but there's some other what we call the agri produce which they're using for ethanol. So what is India will be exporting little less because of little shortage of sugar in India, but Brazil is going to make up for that. So I think the price of sugar has gone up, but is it a crisis kind of a stuff as we speak? The answer is no. There is no kind of a crisis as we speak. But definitely I'll put this data, and I'll also try to put shortages. If at all there is a shortages in the global market for wheat. Wheat I'm not very sure, sir. But definitely sugar is there, but not as such a serious concern. The one thing which senses that onion price can go up in next 2 months. So we are in 6th October. By December, I think the onion price should be much higher than. आज मुझे पता नहीं आज क्या प्राइस है onion का, पर आप लिख लो और फिर again we'll discuss on 6th December. I think it should be higher. आज आमिर को घर पे नहीं जाना है लगता है. Pankaj ji, do a webinar to teach how to hold stock psychologically. I'm your user. When I buy, which I hold, I goes down, you exit, and some which runs, I book profits early. Please give tips to change my work style. Pankaj ji, to point taken. In fact, I did lot of webinars during lockdown on how to and when to exit from the stock. And I must admit, I don't think I've done that topic webinar in 2023. Good, you reminded me. Maybe in one of these days I should do that webinar where I will tell you when to exit from the company. I'll teach you. Okay, then you need to imbibe the teaching in your when to exit from the company, from the sector, and from the assets class. And I'll give you some empirical evidence to help you to drive home the point. So point taken, I know, understand. See, the biggest thing in life, in the equity market is not when to buy. The quantum of money that you can make from the equity market is a function of, when to exit. If when to buy is a 20% problem that has been resolved, when to exit is 80% problem. मैंने बड़े बड़े एक्सपर्ट्स देखे हैं जो अच्छी कंपनी में अच्छे प्राइस पे ले लिए उन्होंने, बट बेच नहीं पाए. और जो तगड़ा मुनाफा उनको होने वाला था, वो मुनाफा सिर्फ पेपर पे रह गया, वो पैसा नहीं बना पाए. And this is a psychological reason. See why it's not easy to exit from a company. I'll tell you why. हमारा ईगो बीच में आता है. द बिगेस्ट ईगो आता है, फियर आता है. अगर मैंने बेच दिया और स्क्रिप्ट ऊपर चला गया तो, एंड दैट फियर विल नेवर एवर हेल्प अलाउ. एंड सेकंड थिंग, ईगो में बोला ना क्या होता है, यू बॉट ए कंपनी, द स्क्रिप्ट मूव डाउन. हमको बुक लॉस नहीं करना है, हमारा ईगो हट होता है. हाउ कैन आई बी रॉन्ग? भाई बुक कर लेना लॉस को. यूज दैट प्रॉफिट टू इन्वेस्ट इन अदर गुड क्वालिटी कंपनी. देयर इज अ हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी दैट यू विल रिकवर दैट लॉसेस. पर नहीं करना है, लॉस बुक नहीं करना है. सो बुकिंग लॉस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टूल इन योर जर्नी ऑफ योर इन्वेस्टमेंट, इक्विटी इन्वेस्टमेंट. आप अपने आप को एक सवाल पूछिए. इफ यू एन इन्वेस्टर, ट्रेडर का तो छोड़ दिया, उसका तो स्टॉप लॉस टेक आउट तो कर लेता बेचारा. इन लास्ट 3 years, हाउ मेनी टाइम्स यू हैव बेसिकली गट्स टू बुक लॉसेस एंड मूव ऑन इन लाइफ? वी वेट इन इटर्नल वेट कि नहीं कंपनी का प्राइस तो ऊपर आएगा तभी मैं बेचूंगा. वो शायद वेट कभी ख़त्म ही नहीं होती है. सो माई रिक्वेस्ट, Of course, I'll do that, and I will more than happy to do that webinar, when to exit and how to exit. I know सवालों का तो सिलसिला चलते रहेगा, but we must also respect other people's time also. We ask you only 1 hour, and it's already more than 1 hour now. So I should not hold you back. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. See you soon. Monday, my colleague Karan will come in front of you with the latest addition to Mojo Stocks. On Tuesday, on 10th, he will come with stock of the month. And Wednesday, I'll be in front of you with Q&A with Sunil Damania. And of course, next Friday, again, I'll be in front of you with trend analysis. Good night. Have a great weekend. Thanks.